It's 6 p.m. on March 19th, and I call this meeting to order. And we're going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. I'm going to do a roll call. Chris Finley is absent, as well as Alan Cassad. Robert McFerrin?
Here.
Joe Paul?
Here.
Heidi Watson here, and Christopher Perrin.
Here.
Thank you. And I believe we do have a quorum, so that's great. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are just meeting to go over, review the questions and answers that we received this week from town staff. I would just like to take a moment to share my expectations with you all and how we conduct ourselves in our meetings, and how nothing has said. Our last meeting went very well, and I'm very thankful for that. So I just want to resolve that we all behave appropriately at our meetings, separately and with town council and staff. This will ensure that our input is heard and respected. We shall be prepared, act respectfully, and follow established procedures. We can always disagree agreeably. And two, if we can please avoid personal attacks, yelling, or derogatory comments to others. And then also, we're going to refrain from side conversations because of the speaker as well, which, like I said, just a reminder. So then we have the minutes from the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the March 12th meeting. Would we like to read those, or?
Move we don't read them.
Okay, there's been motion to waive the reading of the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. A motion to accept them.
To accept the minutes as presented. Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, very good. And we're gonna go into our business of reviewing the capital budget. And we're gonna start on page 270 of the 2026 and 2027 fiscal year under Public Works. So John Cross is here to answer any questions that you have. He also has other information that I emailed you. You're welcome to pass that out now if you'd like. And we'll start with the first item here, which is truck 3 with plow gear. I think if we just take his information and then we'll go back to the beginning of the capital projects and start making our recommendations.
So I'm going to give each of you, I'm gonna leave the building to last, that's because it's a bunch of paperwork, but I'll start with this.
So are you starting with the paving?
I can either start with paving or truck 3, so the
I think
first.
the trucks would be best.
Truck 3 is an international, 2011, has approximately 92,000 miles, 8,600 hours. When that was taken, I believe the equipment update sheet that was taken is actually updated hours and mileage on it that was given to you. Recent work include replacing front springs, rear body where it mounts to the frame, came off from the pivot point on that, had to be re-welded. The exhaust used to have a stack. We had to make a modification because that has rusted off. And since putting this together for you, we lost the rear end in it, and that had to be replaced because it is a primary truck that's used. So it's getting at the point where we're putting significant money into that, probably with a rough number, about $20,000 within the last year and a half or so. It's primarily truck that is used in the Shaw's Mill, Route 35 area of town, requesting a single axle truck of $315,000 to replace that, for that. I provided pictures of stuff that we have done to it currently.
Is that a brand new vehicle that you're
Yes.
expecting to purchase? Okay. Is it, when do you think that it would be here?
It all depends on what vendor we go with. The council has been going with pre-made trucks because they've been bothered by the chance of tariffs. I don't know how that's gonna stand anymore because that truck is immediately available versus waiting and the chance of prices going up over time because yes, they give you a price, but necessarily sometimes they always don't hold the price based on the vendor type of deal. So that would be determined after the bid goes out.
Does that let go out for bid, or does it go through
It does not go through Sourcewell.
Sourcewell?
It goes out to bid for that.
Is this a typical size plow truck?
Yes, it is. That's what we call a single axle truck. It's a plow wing and sander.
I'm sorry.
Typical size truck for that. The next larger size truck is a wheeler truck that would have two axles in the rear of it, with one in the front as a steer axle. But that is not what's being requested. Then we have a smaller 2-ton truck with a plow and wing. But like I said, this plows a main road, Route 35, right here, Northeast Road through that. So this size truck's appropriate for the area.
Thank you very much.
On that truck, is it your intent to reuse looks like a stainless steel body on there, or are you
It's
coming with a new one?
We'll probably end up going with a new one because we need to replace a paving body to be able to have some chute doors and stuff off that for that with that. So that is the intent to do.
So you're gonna take that body off and reuse it for
So
something
this
else?
truck, usually how it works for us, we determine which truck is as better spare. So this truck might at the time, because again, we don't know when the next truck will be in, could be our spare truck that we have.
Okay.
Or we will keep the other spare truck if it's in better shape, this one, and get rid of it. So when we replace the truck, it becomes a spare usually. And then the spare that we currently have, if it's in better shape than the one that we're replacing, will go away. Right now, I'd say the current spare that we have is in better shape than this truck.
And in this process of purchasing this vehicle, does this include all the plow equipment?
Yes,
So these plows that you see on here, the side wing and I don't know what you call the front piece, those would be still here in Standish for as far as if they were needed for something else? Or no, they stay with that truck as a spare?
so they stay with the truck as a spare.
Okay. And you use this truck year round, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is it used for in the summertime?
Construction job, culvert replacement, ditching.
Yep, thank you.
And whichever truck disappears, does a plow gear stay
Plow gear,
spare?
what we've done in the past is taken our worst plow gear, so we have some spare plow gear, 2 spare plows currently. We take the worst gear and send it with the truck going to auction.
Okay, so there will be spare plow gear,
Correct.
not on a truck, but stored
Yep,
in the yard.
yep.
Any other questions regarding truck number 3, the plow gear? Okay, move on to truck number 7 with plow gear.
Truck number 7 was in the capital budget to be replaced last year, went through the same process, but originally we thought that when Rec got their truck by impact fee, we were gonna get their white truck, the 250, and that was gonna replace this truck. They're since keeping that truck, so that took away that plan. And so I'm requesting for it to go back. Since last year, I've had to put the rear body on it because the rear body had a regular pickup body, wouldn't pass inspection. It has we had to replace the rocker panels. The truck's been repainted twice. It's got 154,000 miles. as you start getting into the sand, so the exhaust, the manifold leaks, it's just time for replacement.
And what are you, it's just replacing it with this? the
So
same-
our plan is to replace it with another extended cab, small four-door type vehicle, not a full four-door, but enough so it still can be used for plowing, and put with plow gear and a sander with it for $90,000.
What size is
this-
it?
Either we'll do a 3/4 ton or a 1 ton, depending on the money. So 1 ton, what I'm saying is still be a single axle vehicle, not a dual axle vehicle, something.
The plow trucks that we recently bought because of the contract ending, the plowing contract ending, is this similar to that replacement or no?
Those have plows and wings.
Okay.
So that is completely different. They're a 2-ton truck.
Thank you.
This truck is used year round, like as an everyday crew truck, meaning like going to job sites, we take the
Yeah.
plow off of it. It's used to carry crew, like construction equipment, like plate whackers or something in the back of that nature.
Okay. Any other questions regarding,
This is out for bid, not source, or is it
This
source?
would have to go out to bid as well. Sourcewell is hard with vehicles, I find so far, because a lot of dealerships would rather go to bid than.
Yeah,
what is Sourcewell?
So it's a governmental pricing. It takes it's supposed to be the cheapest of the cheap. That takes like the baseline price. You're not supposed to buy it any cheaper than Sourcewell. There's set government contracts, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
John, in replacing this truck, you mentioned that you use it to move crew around. Is it advantageous to look at a crew cab as opposed to extended cab, or?
Well, we're thinking of the smaller four-doors because a lot of the roads, it lengthens the vehicle
Yeah.
out too much for when we get onto these. They're private roads, but with public easements that we plow for winter maintenance. And it's very hard to maneuver once we start adding the length to the vehicle for that reason. So that's why we will go with this. Still eligible to move the crew around, but not the full four doors, to try to keep it a little bit smaller for doing it. We do have some, like what the state has, like F550 full four-door for the crew as well, you know what I'm saying, that type of, but that's not used for plowing.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding the vehicles for Public Works? Thank you, John. We'll move on to the much anticipated Public Works building, and if you pass out whatever
Can I do
information.
the other two small ones first, the roads?
Sure,
and,
yeah.
if you don't mind?
Oh, that's fine.
So the roads, I have a breakdown of the roads that are proposed to be paved, last time they were paved. Cost per road in total. You'll see that I did ask for some grinding. Whitesbridge Road, we're having an issue with D-lambs. D-lambs are not a pothole, but what's happening up is the pavement is peeling up. We did do some grinding last year to replace it. This road was actually moved up because Northeast Road was in the capital plan to be done this year. But MDOT is currently doing a scoping project to the area. We don't know exactly if it's going to be a complete rebuild like they've done sections from Patches all the way to Johnson Field. That's my anticipation which might happen, but we don't know that yet until that scoping project is done. So it doesn't make sense to spend good money that might be ripped up in the near future. So Whitesbridge Road was in need because, like I said, we're having an issue with the D-lambs. It's a high traveled road, so I switched those two roads out for right now in the capital plan until we know what's going to happen with Northeast Road. And then it also needs some grinding on the Bonnie Eagle side, just past Apple Lane. It's pretty well bellied in the passenger side travel part of the roadway. We'll have to do some repair in that section, maybe some, like I said, either grinding or actually digging it out and putting a partial new subbase in there to do that. So I asked for $50,000 to do that extra work.
Any questions regarding this? Joe?
Don't think so.
Okay.
I believe Heidi, I forwarded her an email, something we just learned about this past week with Eco Maine. I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to read that, but Eco Maine is who takes our bulky waste and our mainstream waste from the transfer station. That's where it gets hauled to an incinerator to be disposed of. We are currently in a 20-year contract that expires in 2027. So Town Manager Pinkham and I have been working on what are our options coming up in the future. We have met with Eco Maine. We also tried to communicate with Kinsella, as those are the two options pretty much in the area. Eco Maine has presented us, there's two options, either to stay as a contract or become an owner in the facilities. Right now, there's currently 27 owner facility, meaning owner towns. Our area towns such as Wyndham, Gorham, Leamington, Buxton are all owner communities. It gives you a seat at the table, so meaning you help determine what the tipping rate is based on Eco Maine's costs and stuff like that to what the communities are being charged. If we are a contract, they just tell you the rate, no matter what it is. But there is a cost to buy into the facility. They finance it interest-free over 30 years. It's roughly $49,000. There is no monetary effect to this year's budget. The reason why we have to come to you to put it through the budget process is because we've spoken with the town attorney. It has a promissory note of about $1.4 million. With that, if the town ever backed out, we're still on the hook for that. So we need voter approval because the charter says over $75,000. You need to have voter approval. So we're asking to put it on the referendum to become an owner facility, because with the projection prices that was sent in that sheet over 30 years based on the rates, it's going to save the town over $1 million to become an owner.
Just over $1 million, right? It's like
Yeah.
$1,510,000.
Yeah.
With this, I'm curious, and I know that this will be discussed on Saturday at the combined council meeting. If we become an owner, yes, there may be like, who would be representing the town? Are there meetings? What does that look like?
So I believe it's a bi-monthly meeting from when we talked about, and that is chosen by the council of who the representative is, or my town manager decision of who the representative would be to sit on the board.
As an owner, if Eco Maine needs major equipment purchases, I mean, there's failure at the facility, as an owner, we then would be on the hook for paying our portion of repairs or replacements.
That's why we get to help determine the tipping rate. So meaning the tipping rate is what pays the bills type of deal of that. So by having a seat at the board, you have a say into that. I'm not saying, obviously the majority would rule type of deal. It's run by the board, and they obviously have a manager of Eco Maine that gives his best choice, but the board is the one that makes the decision on which way it goes. So as a contract, you're just told that this is going to be your rate, versus you at least get a say into what could your rate be.
Under the contract, is it a 30-year contract, and these are our exact rates for 30 years?
These are estimated rates.
Yep. And something else that I've learned, we've not had to pay for recycling, right? Right,
Correct.
we've not had to pay for recycling, but soon, that ends next year.
Correct.
We'll start having to
Our
pay for
current
recycling.
contract is, back in 2007, Eco Maine took as they call it, a gamble on the recycling market, because they sell the recyclables. The recycling market is not what it was back in the early 2000s, but they say it's because of less newspaper and other items. We have more cardboard going. It's harder to get rid of with that. So right now we do in between 350 and 400 tons of recycling that we pay zero for. Next year, if you look at the rate for recycling, it's estimated at $130 a ton. Not this current budget, but that's something in next year's budget that we will have to start to budget for. There's also a new program coming out. It's called EPR. The details are very limited about it. It's a state program. The best way that I can rate what it's like is like a bottle redemption. Large companies, I'm just gonna use Amazon, will have to pay so much for so much cardboard to the state that they're putting in. You will get a reimbursement from the state. Those rates have not yet been determined based on your recycling rate. So right now, our recycling rate is about 10 to 11%, based on our household waste type of deal. But I can't tell you what that means for money getting back. You can use the money to pay for staffing, infrastructure, costs of handling, all that stuff is eligible for reimbursement, but I don't know what that's gonna be yet.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding the owner community versus contract community? Yep. Do you have more of those?
Yep.
So there is a savings between being an owner and just contract.
They're estimating over 30 years it'll be just over $1 million in savings of being an owner.
Savings,
In savings.
okay. I think that was gonna be my question. Okay, I'm all set.
All set?
Yep.
Any other questions regarding this? Which is, there's no page for it in here. I imagine we may get it on Saturday, hopefully. Now we'll move on to the building.
Okay. I'm gonna start. I have it all in order.
And what are you handing us, if you just let us know what you're giving us? All right, yep.
All right.
We pass it to me and I can pass it out. That one. Yeah.
So let me start by saying a little of the background behind this, of how this has all come about. In 2019, you're looking at this is 2 lots that was purchased. You're looking at it combined as 1 lot. For the future, the intent or the idea behind the purchase was for the future home of a new public works building. In 2022, Director Roger Mosley put it into the capital plan at $8 million for a new building, to be in last year's budget. That then went to the next year after that of $60,000 for engineering money that went to the voters that got approved. Then I got hired and I've continued on with the project since then. So what I just handed you is a basic outline of the lot from the S curves down to the sand building of the lots, 2 lots that were purchased, but that is showing it as combined. This was the first lot that was looked at by engineers. We first started with Ransom. Ransom Engineering disappeared in between, and we ended up with Goral Palmer. So Ransom originally started this project. That's why you're gonna maybe see Ransom on some of this, but now we've been using Goral Palmer. So this is a wetland delineation of that lot. As you can see, in the middle area, it's sort of like a pie-shaped lot, is the best way I can describe it. There's wetlands there. Part of I'll show you a further thing, the topography shows steep elevation. So when you get to the back lot, when I'm saying the back lot, not the roadside, it's very steep elevation in there. So the engineers look at a possible building design to put onto this lot right here. When we were able to come up with a building design, from the wetlands to the right-hand side is a 1 to 3 topography slope. So meaning for every 3 feet, you have 1 foot of drop. So when you get there, it's very hard to put a building on without putting retaining walls because of the sizing of it. The sizing of it was done by an architect. So we provided them a vehicle inventory of all the town-owned equipment. what we currently have for needs. They came up with the size of the buildings that we should have. It wasn't like a John Cross wish list saying, oh, I want this size building. It wasn't done that way. They came up with what's called conceptual design. So conceptual design is not a full design of a building. It's just saying you need this much space for this much area in that. So that is how they tried to put those buildings onto this. They couldn't put the size buildings that they say the town needs onto this lot because of the gradation and the wetland location of that. More of the gradation of that. So with the current one, which I'm gonna hand you right here, the first one that was submitted in January.
I'm gonna ask you some questions while you do that. Ransom disappeared, so like they're just non-existent anymore?
They moved out of Portland and their civil engineers all quit. So what you'll see in this right here is if you flip back to some of the pages, is the design that they came up with, but it does not meet the needs of the town for the cold storage building. The public works garage is the same size, and there's no fuel station at this location. It could not accommodate a fuel station. Right now, currently, we just have diesel tank, a 2,000-gallon diesel tank at our current location, which this past winter we've run out twice at during storms. Through that, automatic fill-ups, but when some of these storms last 30+ hours, we go through quite a bit of diesel within that time frame. Based on this, we did look at trying to put a building to the absolute right side of the lot by the S-curves. But the topography was too steep with the slopes, and it was unsure if we'd be able to we'd have to pay to fill the wetlands to get a road in between. So if you pay to fill it with the already costs, and like I said, one of the things is we don't have potable water up there. So we looked at running a water main up there. It's approximately $2 million. So when you put in all the other prices, and if you had to put a building over there, the prices were astronomical, too high. So we looked at reducing the size of the cold storage building. But it didn't meet the town needs, so we looked at other town-owned land. I know I'm sort of jumping around. I got a lot of thoughts in my head. Some things that I want to say about this is a shared building, so meaning fire apparatus has a complete work bay in that, that they have a tech. They currently work here in this town hall bays, but this is not a garage because the floor was never designed for that type of deal. But we're providing that for that. We currently now service all the town vehicles besides fire apparatus. They take care of their own. So you see the rec buses, Public Works is servicing them. All the code enforcement, assessor cars, all that stuff is now being serviced by Public Works and not outsourced. So when you think of a bus and other things up there, we're also using those bays to do that work for that. But that's just something I wanted to make sure you're aware. This is a shared, one dedicated bay is shared for that. At the current facility, we're doing that. Makes it very tight though when a school bus is in there to be able to do that. So you also see a listing of this is done by the architect and the engineer of spacing for how they come up with the size buildings. This is what the building would provide. Like I said, there is no building design. This is space to accommodate that.
And right now, we have one work bay.
We have two work bays,
Work bays.
but it is very narrow. I have some pictures to show you type of deal. It's very challenging sometimes to fit two plow trucks in there side by side, depending, because our wall space is plumb full of stuff along the wall, which shrinks which shrinks our work area with that. So based on it not meeting our design, the town's needs last year, I asked, what other options do we have? And they said, well, we can look at other town-owned lots. That's how came up of that. That's why I chose to have them look at the Moody Road Northeast Road lot.
Were there other options to look at other than the Moody Road Northeast Road?
Well, I'd like to stay in this area, not in this area because of our sand and salt location building, because those aren't moving. Those are staying at its current location.
John, on this conceptual design, how many bays?
I'd have to look at the back, so it should be the same as the other.
Is that's the listing, right? That's
Yeah.
this.
Yep, it is.
8 bays?
Yep.
But no, there's
Well, then it's
drive-
got the fire apparatus and
10
wash
bays.
bays.
Okay.
8 work.
10.
When they say 8 work bays, those are drive-through bays too. So what I'm saying is it's 4 drive-through bays plus the other one. So the 24 by 25 is only 1/2 of the building, because the building, its size itself is 90 by 230. So when you're looking at work bay, it's only one side of the building.
This is, I see Moody Road. And what is the other? This is the 35 Moody Road one?
Nope, that is
This is by,
by
okay.
transfer station. So what it lacked up there for us,
Transfer station.
there's $2 million to get water up there, and that costs.
Okay.
It
Thank you.
didn't provide a cold storage building that was large enough for the recommended sizing that we needed. It only provided, I believe it was 7,200 storage. The sizing of it. It's not the sizing that they recommended. I'm sorry, I don't have that right in front of me, but, so like I said, I went to look for other options. And there's no room for future growth. So if we build that to that,
This is a big, this alone is a lot of, is a big growth. I mean,
but are we
we
talking
have
the
2
same?
bays, we have 2 bays right now,
Yeah.
right? And this is 10.
Yeah, but
So
if it's
that's-
providing us a wash bay, something that we don't have that I find is very necessary for townwide vehicles all around, for the fire department, for the rec buses, everything type of deal. So that's one bay. Then you're also bay for fire apparatus. So it's really, if you take out those 2 bays, you know what I'm saying? It's really less than 8 bays for us because of that. 6 bays technically because of the drive-through.
So it says there's 3 staff offices on this plan.
So the staff offices would be,
Plus your office.
so right now we have 2 crew leaders and a deputy director. That currently is no space in the other building of that. We pretty much in the summertime run 2 crews.
Is your office here?
No,
Okay.
it's at the Public Works garage. The best way that I can describe it, John Cross would love to be at this lot. This lot, when it was proposed by the engineer, is not what's best for the taxpayers because of the limitations that it.
I'm gonna just share my brief opinion about this, right? The companies that suggest this are making money as well, like their business, you know what I mean? So their suggestion on what they think we need, I think maybe not necessarily what we need for our town. We're going from 2 in this plan, and this isn't even the plan that's in this budget, because this one is almost $12 million. What's in the budget is a $9 million plan, which
Yep.
is at the 35 and Moody Road intersection. So, and I believe, am I wrong in understanding that that building is bigger?
The other project is actually 11,300,000, but we're phasing it.
Exactly, yes.
So I can talk to you about that.
So I'll finish my thought really quickly just about that. I think the whole idea behind this conceptual design and giving them what we have for equipment and then them giving us what they're telling us what we need. There could be a stark difference between what we realistically need. And I know I teach kindergarten. I love being involved in our community, but I'm just giving you my,
Yeah.
thoughts.
I think some of the other things that we need to take into account that we're not thinking of is that we have a grader, don't get me wrong, it's an older grader that sits outside, but a replacement cost of that is probably close to $700,000. We have two excavators sitting outside that each replacement cost is $200,000. The mowing tractor that sits outside, replacement cost is $250,000. There's other things besides just trucks that we're looking at putting into this type of deal that are very expensive to the town, and it's an investment for the town.
Where will the equipment sit when it's not operating?
In the the cold storage building or inside of the garage.
I would be like, if you look at like the state as a whole and you drive down the highway and you see like their salters hanging in these things and their plows and plow trucks all in these parking lots at the stations, like along the highway as a state and all the way up, I-95. We don't put every single vehicle, excavator, all this equipment in cold storage. Like that's not something that, am I wrong?
I think, well, I'll rely on Henry on this one. I think that you'd find that most of the Standish camp, all their equipment's under storage. I think all the stuff going up through I see is under storage. I mean, I think that's something they're trying to work towards. Maybe not every place is like that, but I think it's something they're trying to work towards.
It's a goal, but it comes at a cost, right? So
Yes.
we still have equipment that stays outside majority of the year. John, I just have a few questions. You mentioned about, filling in that wet area. Do you know roughly what that would cost?
The engineers had that. He will be here on Saturday.
And no matter if it was this lot or the proposed lot at 35 and Moody Road, what would happen to the old facility?
Well, the idea is to get through this, that we would stage that eventually, phase that eventually. So that would become cold storage eventually. So how we're getting to this $5 million number is, if we looked at this Moody Road lot, and there's a phasing plan, which I can give you, that they just came to you in March. So the Public Works garage, there is no change. Cold storage is the biggest change, and there's a fuel station, and the water is already right there at Route 35. So there is no $2 million cost up there. So the savings is the extra money from the $2 million is going into a cold storage building down there at the 35 location. So that money is being repurposed instead of running water up the road.
So this conceptual design included running water down there?
Correct. So it provides a fuel station in a phase plan. It provides water in the same building size that was recommended.
So it just doesn't include the cold storage building?
It had, in this one down here, yes, it does. But how we got to phasing it is when we had the council workshop, which I don't know, I told Heidi about that, I don't know if you walked about it. The general comments from the council is, can the project be phased? So we phased it into cold storage and a public works building with a fuel station. And that was $9 million. We went to the capital meeting in January, talked about it. In February, they asked if that could be reduced even further. So That's how the $4.93 million came into equation of now you're building the Public Works garage in 2 phases. So basically, it would be the office area and 2 work bays for that price tag. But we also, one thing that came up, I heard which I spoke about, is the land. So that land at the corner of Northeast Road and Route 35 and Moody Road was purchased with capital reserve. It wasn't purchased by bond. So we spoke to the town attorney about that. We would have to pay back the capital reserve account $325,000. So that's why the 5.5 number is coming up, because we're taking that 4.93 plus 520 plus the 325 to pay back the capital reserve. And it's up to the council what they choose to do with the capital reserve, but it came from a capital reserve rec fund. So his recommendation was to pay that fund back, plus a little bit of a buffer of, it's a cost estimate, what they're saying is 4.93. So that's where the 5.5 number of the phase plan came into. With that, that takes away the fuel station, wash bays, the fire apparatus bay, 2 other work bays, and the cold storage. I know I probably confused you all.
What's the advantage to phasing it?
The advantage of phasing it is a lower cost is where they want to. Obviously, it could cost you more.
Front,
Yep.
year 1.
Yep.
But I think-
Probably going to cost you a little bit more throughout the plan.
And that's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah.
Materials have trended up over the last 5 years, and I don't see them coming down.
The other thing that I'd like to mention is just this week, we went to the Council Ordinance Committee. Public Works was originally told we weren't allowed to get impact fees. That has since changed. We are allowed to get impact fees. So you're going to see a new council order going forth this April where Public Works will have an impact fee. I don't know what that impact fee is going to be. The town attorney recommended it just be for a building. So impact fees can be used, but they can't be used for the whole building. From North Star Planning, the guy was here. The town is responsible for a certain portion to get it to a size, then the growth can be attributed to pay towards the extra. So based on the numbers provided by the engineer, the town is responsible to pay up to $6 million. And the growth for the remaining part of the project, which they estimated if it was phased would be $7 million for a total price of 13. I'm just saying if the whole project was built, the impact fee could be used for 7 million of it. But the town is responsible for up to 6 million of it because you need to build it to that current size.
I don't think our impact fees will grow in that amount of money, right?
No, but it's just something that can go towards it. Impact fees have to be used within 10 years. So is it 10 years later that we do the next phase, and whatever money that we have towards that could be used to pay down another phase? We're not saying the whole thing has to be built, but it goes towards it. It might be the wash bay.
Right.
I couldn't tell you where it will be, but that's where.
What's the square footage of the building under this phased?
It's the same square footage, the Public Works building. Oh, the phase. I'm not sure it says on.
20,700 square feet.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm flipping to it. I don't have it. I mean, I could go through and do the numbers based on what is provided, but from the other drawing, if you take the office space and 2 work bays and add that together, that would be the first phase. But the engineer probably have that right off the top.
So it's substantially smaller.
Yes. Some things, other things I hear, they have.
I've got a few questions while you pass those.
Yeah.
In this conceptual design at the corner of Northeast and Moody Road, Has anybody addressed the noise and light pollution that it would create?
The engineers did look at light pollution and stuff. There is a buffer around that, a wooded buffer around the area type of deal. I mean, our ordinance also requires lights being down.
Yep.
Sorry, distracted. I know one of your comments was about contaminants. I did speak to Mr. Butler across the street. That piece of land was never contaminated from that. They have also stopped pumping over there as there is no more contamination at the Sensata building. I believe there's 4 of this as well.
These pictures of your current facility?
So what I'm providing you is the back picture. I want you to see, some of that goes with the operating budget. But I want you to see, yes, in the current facility of how tight it is for 2 plow trucks. And the biggest issue is if you look at the water on the floor, so currently that floor has what's called a radiant floor. It does not have any floor drains. We don't have any catch systems for that. So either that water has to get evaporated or we squeegee it outside type of deal because of that. So when the mechanics, we had 2 breakdowns. That was a breakdown. That's why I took the picture to show you that. That's the amount of water that's melting off the trucks that he's having to crawl underneath the ground to work with that. I mean, that's a good explanation for me to show the condition of what we're doing. It's not like I can just put a floor drain in because of the radiant floor. We'd also have to put a complete catch system outside. So it's like, when do you draw enough of putting money into something that we're outgrown type of deal? And
in your 2 conceptual designs, how would it be radiant floor as well, or?
so it would be a radiant floor, but with the heat tubes down there for instantaneous recovery, but it also have the catch system tank in there to catch that water that would be pumped periodically.
Where does it get pumped?
I believe Clean Harbors has to come do that. I'm not exactly sure on that, but
What size tank do you think that would be?
that's,
Engineers?
yeah.
Can you explain the 2 estimated impact on the mill rate that you just handed to us?
Yep. So one is
Which one is for which?
so they're double-sided. If you look at the top, one says 5.5 million and the other says 9 million. 20-year note is on one side,
Oh, yeah.
30-year note is on the other side. Of what the impacted tax rate would be to it's per $100,000. They broke it down, but they did a $400,000 evaluation, $800,000 evaluation. The top one is the average price, because some of the prices do fluctuate from year 1 to that, but that is the average at the top one.
So these are for each phase?
So if you decided to build just the Public Works building and complete, that would be the estimated $9 million one without the cold storage. If you chose to phase the Public Works building, it'd be the $5.5 million one.
If you were to phase the Public Works building for 5.5 million, then to build it out to the size you want it to be built out to in future years, it would be a lot more than another 3.5.
They're saying over $3 million, so it would make it over. So right now the price is like 11.3, so they're saying it'd be like a 12.3 if it was phased out.
Total project.
Total project.
Okay. I'm just looking at because you've got for 9 million, you build the whole Public Works garage, not
Yep.
not the cold storage. For 5.5 million, you build a much smaller.
Correct. The only reason why I say if you start with a smaller, the impact fees, I'm not saying, I mean, I know some of the impact fees totals have a couple $100,000 in them. Is that a couple $100,000 in the kitty after 2 years of our current growth in building? I mean, I can't predict, are we gonna keep growing and keep building like that? I feel we will, but you know, it's all based on the housing market. Is there potential in 10 years that we could have $1 million to put down on it? In my opinion, there is, but I can't tell you for sure that they're gonna be that $1 million. It's the guessing game on that.
So if you go with the 5.5 million, do you just, would you just, when you do expand the building to the full size, are you just making it longer?
Correct.
So you just take the wall off and more concrete, more metal.
Correct. The only thing that that I spoke to the engineer with, that I struggle with not having in the first phase is the wash bay. But it doesn't make sense to have the wash bay in the middle of the building and then have 2 work bays on the other side. So the wash bay should be your last bay in your building.
Okay.
Substantial price, not that I disagree.
With that model, John, of starting with that much smaller facility, right, just the offices and wash bay, which I agree with you is backwards. What would be the estimate of time for the next phase?
I put it in as 2032 because if we're gonna be using impact fee that in the capital plan of when I would ask to do that, obviously, I think it's based on the growth. I mean, to me, the timing of, if you look at our capital plan, there's multiple projects coming up in the future, Route 25, of that, meaning the corridor type of deal. There's other talks of the fire department wanting to go up here at the building of when is the best time for this project to go. And I feel that now is the best time for this project to go based on the future of our capital plan type of deal. Because if you were to do a building here and a building there at the same time, I feel that's very hard on the taxpayer.
Well, I asked that question because, you know, in phase, if you did the much smaller phase at the corner of Northeast and Moody, it really doesn't get equipment undercover. It doesn't.
Well,
it doesn't change.
It allows us to be able to have the old building as a as a storage building, so that facility would be utilized as that type of deal. I'm a firm believer, build it once, build it right, but it's also substantial costs.
And I guess my follow-up question to that is, under the concept of building a facility at Moody and 35, how would you anticipate loading trucks and that kind of stuff in the middle of a snowstorm if your equipment's down here?
So we would have up there in that building would still probably house the loader and at the old garage type of deal for that. The other future thing, which I haven't brought up, is that's in the operating budget is the council, some of the council members have asked me to look at the future of the transfer station of that because they feel that transfer station versus curbside is the way the townspeople wants to go and everybody wants to go, which I think is a good decision. But we're also, at some point, we're gonna hit that max of what I just did again. Meaning I stretched the days out because our traffic volume was so high. Standish is growing. We're gonna hit that again. What I came up with was a temporary solution, but not a permanent solution. What really needs to happen up at the transfer station at some point, I'm not saying when, but there's a study in the general operating budget of 2 compactors type of deal, a more scale house probably, because right now we pay for everything by the ton to get rid of it, but we charge people by the yard to bring it in. So obviously a yard of bricks doesn't weigh the same going out type of deal for that. So could that other lot be a possible deck area with a scale house over there? Meaning when I saying other lot, what was originally intended for public works because of the grade and everything? Yes, it could. But I don't know that. That's why I said they want to do a study to see what is our best option. The idea would be to repurpose some of the impervious area. I mean, if I could stay at the current garage and just expand it, I would, but we're at a what's called impervious area at that. We can't expand our impervious area there.
How much of the original $60,000 of engineering have we spent?
All of it.
And then more or no?
Yep.
How much more?
I do not have that figure off the top.
I'm just gonna ask the question. I don't believe in foolish questions, so. Why can't we tell the engineers what we want? Why can't we say, we want a wash bay, or we want this, and we want this first? This is what we want first. Why is it that we can't do that?
Well, the architect is basing it off the needs. We can build whatever we want. I'm not going to disagree with you there, but they're saying to meet the needs of the town. It's just, I'm going to use this building as an example. We built a smaller building than I think within 5 or 6 years we were doing an addition. Is that going to be the same thing by doing a smaller building and having to do that again up there? That's why when you have their spacing and everything else, I'm going with their expertise type of deal of this is what they say we need. I'm not saying we can't build something smaller. We absolutely can. But will it meet the needs of the town in the future? Probably not.
Thank you. Any other questions, Budget Committee, about
I guess I'll go back a little bit, but for the 9 million, you get what you want.
You get what, like I said, yes, you get the whole public works garage for the 9 million.
but in this,
Yep.
But not cold storage.
Not cold storage.
right, there's something else is pushed off in 2032 in these notes that you gave us,
Correct. The cold storage area phase.
$3 million.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of the things I've noticed, John, is throughout at least in this conceptual plan, the engineer noted that there were some things that were not included in that price. Electrical, I think, was one of them. And I know standing there, you have no way of having a rough idea of what any of that would even cost, right? But if this went to vote and the public said, build it once, build it right, is there any rough idea of how much more it would cost through contract mods and that kind of stuff?
That's why they asked me when we talked about, okay, if you add the 8.1 plus 325, what is enough to go to the voters with enough extra? That's why they recommended $9 million. They felt that would.
Any other questions for John?
Would like to thank you all for your time. Joe actually came up and did a tour today of the facility. If any of you want to do that, I'd be more than happy to do that for you, so you can see it. We can do a ride around. I took him around, showed him everything. Door's always open, happy to share.
Have others come to view the building as well?
Other council members have. And public members that have heard about it. So I've had multiple public come through after they see it, because they obviously hear the price tag and think, and then they see that there is a need for it. Like I said, would John Cross love to be right next door to my sand and salt building? Yes, I would. But I don't feel that's what's best for the taxpayer, because it takes away no future growth, no fuel station, not the sizing that they say we need.
So there's a fuel station already there.
But we do not have gasoline there, so we come here to get gasoline. We only have 2,000 gallon tank up there. Something different would have to be done up there for that.
And when you say that that doesn't allow for the growth of the town, but from what
So-
I'm understanding, or
So this is built for growth and public works, but if you look at the design at Moody Road, there's actually room for another building, which could be a fire station, could be a rec building. There's a whole other space of a 20,000 square foot building they estimated that could be put there. It's highlighted in red, or it's on the right side of the drawing showing that. So that's why I'm saying room for future growth, meaning future growth at the lot of other buildings.
okay. Because the buildings that are being presented are, please correct me if I'm wrong, are essentially the same somewhat on each lot.
The buildings are the same.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
And it's designed for growth within Public Works. Like I said, it's designed to hold 30 employees.
do you guys all take lunch at the same time?
Well, that question, I wanted to bring that up. So we do take lunch at the same time. I'd say we're a little bit different than the state because obviously I'm gonna use this camp right here on Saco Road. They go to, I believe, all the way to the New Hampshire line. Is that correct, Henry? They go to the New Hampshire line, all the way to the Scarborough line. There's a big difference of coming back there for lunch, but I would not say in the summertime, we take lunch, they take it at the job site. But in the wintertime, to warm up, to come back, yeah, most of the time, everybody is back there for lunchtime at that, because you're within the town. It's not, we're not traveling the distance of like state employees would be to go back to the camp for lunch type of deal. It's within the confines of that.
Well, the likelihood of 30 employees being that at a time is kind of unlikely.
Joe, can I tell you, what did Tanya tell you today?
She had to eat in her vehicle yesterday. Just so, one reason, just so she could get away from the phone for that amount of time.
That's my admin. So, I mean, she volunteered that information to.
Yeah. He didn't ask her, I didn't ask her. It was just, if there was something that you would like to see that might be different, it was a lunchroom. That was better than the one they have now. Like I said to her, wasn't it cold sitting in your car yesterday? Unless you turn it on and let it run, but it was chilly sitting outside.
Thank you.
Anytime. I'd rather come and, just so you guys know, come to your meetings and answer your questions than hit later or whatever else. So anytime, please reach out. I'd rather come and try to help.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Maybe I have one more. Let me find it. It shows on the 30 and 20-year numbers that on one of them, on a 30-year loan for, it's just the top
And the
one.
assessor wanted me to say, so when they did the $9 million that was done for the January capital meeting, interest rates have dropped about 1%. He didn't rerun the number. So the likelihood, obviously I don't know when we'd borrow the money. It could change between here and there, but it's about a % difference in there. So that $9 million one, probably, if they were to do it right today, would be a little bit lower than what it was done when it was done in January.
Yeah, my question or comment was going to be, let's do the 30-year, $9 million. It would cost a property owner for a $400,000 assessment, it would cost $9.33 a month.
Correct, $112 increase.
Yeah. So the mill rate wasn't put down there, but
The assessor will be here and he probably could answer those questions of.
yeah. I just want, it doesn't really look like, and I know, An increase is an increase. But it doesn't look like the increase is a lot. And I don't want my taxes going up. But I think the building's needed, and I'd bite the bullet. I don't know about anyone else, but
The question, the
That's it.
$1 million question is.
$9 million.
$9 million question is, the bullet's gonna come at some point. When is the best time for the bullet? It's gonna cost more in the future. Is now the right time? That's for you guys, financially to decide.
eventually it's gonna be needed.
It's not eventually, it's needed.
Well,
Yeah, it's just,
when?
I am not saying that a new building is not needed.
Mhm.
I am just I believe that this is a more than a lot, like it's an excessive amount of increase in my, I don't know, that's just my thoughts. But I'm not saying that there's not a building that's needed. Can I ask you this, just so I can like have this knowledge for myself? Is it possible for us to, like I said, for us to tell for you to go to them and say, like, this is what we want to, yes, have an increase, have a bit larger building with more bays, but does it need to be 10? Could it be 5? Could it be 6? Could it be a little bit smaller? Then with all those extra bays, does that mean you're gonna hire more mechanics?
so,
There's there's a lot of things there. Are we planning to max out at 30 employees? I have not,
so the idea of more mechanics comes to the fire apparatus mechanic would be all under one roof type of deal. So, are you adding people that way? Yes, you are, but it's not really adding a person type of deal, but it's adding that space. Like I said, we've taken over doing the work for all the town vehicles. That was something that wasn't done prior to me.
except for public safety.
Except for public safety type of deal. So, but to have that, they don't have the jack lifts and stuff like that. We have that stuff. They don't here type of deal. If they're jacking something up, they're using blocks and cribbing and jacks on the floor.
Is every one of these bay gonna have jacks in it?
So we have 2 sets currently. That was the idea. Director Mosley purchased a second set, so we have 2 sets currently.
And those are the mobile units.
Those are the mobile units, so they can go from bay to bay. It's not a fixed lift station, so they go into the wheel wells and lift them, or frames of the vehicles and lift them. That is how that's done, so they can go from either.
Not quite, I don't completely think my question's answered. Is it possible to
Well,
go
we can-
to the engineer
can
and say,
definitely-
we want this, 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 and this? Give us a plan that gives us this. It allows us for growth. It allows these things. Is that possible?
Yeah, that's 100% possible. My only one question is when are we gonna say that it's not like this building, or not to go against their expertise, to say, we can absolutely say, we want this. Do you understand what I'm saying? But they're saying it doesn't meet the needs. I'm not, I don't have that to say it doesn't meet the needs type of deal, but that's where I guess I go with that. You're 100% right. We can tell them this is what we want, and this is what we're gonna get.
Thank you.
But that would sort of go against what you were saying about having the wash bay last,
Correct,
because wash bay is one of the things you want
correct,
to save vehicles.
correct.
But in this current plan, if it goes through, the wash bay is last. It's in the second phase. No?
No, so if
Okay.
the $9 million
Yeah.
price includes the wash bay,
Okay, thank you.
It's just located on the wrong end of the building.
correct.
And that's not able to be changed?
Well, if you put the wash bay next to the administrative offices, the mechanics come back and forth and stuff through that. I don't see that's the ideal setup, is that you're going through the wash bay to get to the work areas type of deal. So that's,
Mhm.
most all other public works buildings that I've seen have gone through, the wash bay is the last bay of that. Does the state have any?
Yes. It's always the last bay. It was my earlier point, is phasing it like this doesn't really solve your issue of getting equipment under cover. It gives you a wash bay that's not in the right location.
Well, if you phase the building, it doesn't even give us the wash bay. They took the wash bay out. The $4.93 million doesn't include a wash bay.
And unless you look at it like Heidi was, were you thinking you can tell engineering what you want with a wash bay?
Yeah. Right,
So-
like it give them exactly what you want, you know, maybe we don't,
And this comes back to some of the comments you made earlier. I didn't have to name them, but unfortunately, a decision has to be made Saturday, or we wait a year and then we're into other projects coming
Right.
down the pike. Do we push that off a year? I don't know. I'll leave that for you guys to decide of.
I have been very, quiet about all of that, so to speak, but yes. And so anybody watching or listening knows, yeah, we're breaking the town charter, essentially, because we're supposed to be given the budget, the council's supposed to give the budget committee the budget, and we're to have 14 days to review it. So we're kind of pinched here, and when there's such a large capital amount, especially with a project like this, it's really discouraging to have that pressure put on us in that sense. So, yeah. And
Obviously, that was beyond my,
I understand that, yeah, and I don't even think I got understanding of exactly how we are supposed to go about our day on Saturday in that meeting, however, not the why, which we'll hopefully get that answer at some point, how this happened, how this mistake was made. So, did I
Are
answer your
you there?
question?
I don't know. What was my question?
I will be there Saturday.
Sat-
Yeah, because the council was given the option to review the phase plan from the February one, and they have not seen it. Or I should say the capital committee was given the option. They wanted to wait to do it at a joint session. So that is, you'll probably hear a lot of the same information again in the joint session. The engineer will be here. So maybe he can give you a dollar amount to do the building, whatever. I don't know if that's possible or not. I can call him tomorrow and say that if you tell me something, to see if he can come up with something.
I don't want to be the person that says like, what if we did this, 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 and this? Like, you're the public works director.
Yeah.
But just like mind blowing, it's a lot of money, yeah. And I understand the whole idea of it being more money later, you know, it could be. I also know that we put off a fire truck purchase this year, potentially for this building to be built. But 10 bays versus 2, it's a huge increase. Like, this is a massive project, huge. That's just my only, and it's
And
just.
this is where I go back to say is, yes, am I the public works? I am, but I go back to their expertise by saying, this is what we should have. The question is, do you want stuff stored outside? That's the question to me, outside of a heated environment.
When you look at other companies that like these gravel pits in the area, like I don't see them having giant equipment storage for all their stuff. I don't.
Well, Shaw Brothers, if you look at that whole building, when you go down.
Shaw Brothers does, yeah.
On the right-hand side, all that is a whole cold storage building. Gorham Sand and Gravel has a whole lean-to side off the back type of deal. I'm not gonna disagree that equipment sits outside if it's being used and stuff like that, so.
They have a massive parking lot also with a lot of equipment
Yeah.
outside as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah.
All right, but we've spent, are there any other questions? Spent an hour and 15 minutes on this. Any questions on this right now for John? All right.
Nope.
So I'm gonna recommend that we go back to page 267, which is public safety. And thank you very much, John, for coming. We will
Thank
see you on We will see you on Saturday. I'm just getting my questions out that we had sent in for, and I am going to read some of these answers, although I don't think I'm gonna read everything John typed out. He just went over everything. The general question that we asked was, when did the timing schedule change for the budget committee to receive the capital change? His answer was, to answer your question regarding the timing in the past, we have completed just the capital portion on the first day due to timing constraints with the state, so this hasn't changed. Last year, we were able to get it in with the 14 days. The way I envision it is for the budget committee to have amounts they would like to recommend at the 3/21 meeting and can discuss with the council after the council has stated their recommendation. We must have amounts for capital that day so we can fulfill our responsibilities for April's council meeting. As for, I'd asked a question about impact fees as well, or we did as a group. These are usually allocated for a specific item. For public safety, the town is saving so that we can have a substantial amount to put towards a fire truck or ambulance next year. I'm not sure about recreation. Those are only 2 impact fees that we have for this purpose. Impact fee use does not have to go to a referendum vote to be used. The council can authorize the use for specific capital purchases to his knowledge. Currently, the recreation impact fee amount is $206,408.42, and public safety has $119,728.99. And that was it for those questions that I had sent to him. That was just like general questions. So, but on page 267, we have the Unit 2, chief vehicle replacement. We did not specifically ask any questions about this. Does anybody have anything that just, and we can take a, I would. Any questions on that regarding that? We'll go down through each item individually, and then we can, as a whole, recommend that we approve or deny with a recommendation of what to the entire page. Move down to traffic control vehicle for $45,000. Any questions about that? We did get a list of all of the vehicles that the town owns, insured vehicles, and then each department, for the most part, gave us those things as well. And I do believe also, like, if you have you change your mind between now and Saturday, I think that you will definitely have a moment to voice your opinion on Saturday as well. No changes there. Cardiac monitors for $65,000. We did ask a question about that, and the answer was that they purchased 2 monitors about 10 years ago and 1 this past year, which gave us a total of 3 units. Due to everyday use, changes in technology, and more accurate tracing of cardiac rhythms, along with the ability to transmit the rhythms to the receiving facility and increased cost of the units, they're trying to get on a cycle of replacing 1 monitor every 3 years. Once we get on a regular cycle of replacing them, the oldest unit will be almost 9 years old. As of right now, as we get into this cycle, the oldest unit will be 12 to 13 years old. So we had asked what the life if the life expectancy was 3 years, and that is, it's obviously longer than that. It's just to get into a, essentially a healthy rotation of purchasing those and getting rid of the old ones. Any questions there?
Nope.
Move on to the dry hydrant replacement. We asked, where the current locations of the dry hydrants were they? Is there full inventory available? McGill Fern Road, 2 Trails, Saco Road at the Bridge, Tower Publishing, Standish Hollis Line, Spear Road, Ward's Cove Road, Ward Pond Road, Manchester Road, Harmons Beach Road, and Mosley Road.
They're just talking about replacing.
Nope, these are new ones that are permitted. In their notes, they had, these were,
They have 7
they're
locations.
DEP,
around town.
right, that are DEP permitted for installation of these, so this is for the materials and such to install these new seven.
Okay, 7 new ones.
So, yeah, it says
Oh, it does say
replacement.
replacement. And in this, we didn't read it as that, thinking it was replacement.
I guess that would be a question
Yep.
for Saturday.
Like it says replacement in the budget, but when you read the notes, it says that we have 7 locations around town that are DEP permitted for installation of these now. They just need the funds to install them.
So they must
So,
need a
could be
permit
a-
to replace them.
Okay, that could be potential, yeah, it could be a permit for replacement or a permit for something new. So we can ask about that. The boat launch upgrades. We asked a question about that. And all we asked was what the fees were used for. The boat launch fees cover the salaries of the attendants. And the specific upgrades for the ADA compliance, it's to put in a walkway from the upper parking lot to the dock area, safer than having people walking or moving in their wheelchair up and down the driveway where people are driving vehicles with trailers on them. They did receive a grant that helped make a bigger dock and concrete platforms go, that silt and dirt was less stirred up. The state rep said we could get more grant money in the future if the grade was sloped for people in wheelchairs. Anything there? And then, the next item is 10 AED devices. I don't believe we asked any questions about that. And below that is the 3/4 ton vehicle with a plow for $95,000.
Yeah, we didn't ask about that. Must have been an explanation that we were okay.
Correct, in the, yep, I can. We didn't ask any questions about that vehicle, no.
Right.
Yep. Does anybody have any questions or suggestions or a motion to recommend to the budget committee acceptance of this total amount of $378,000 for public safety?
Motion we recommend $378,000.
Is there a second?
Second that.
All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Right. We will turn the page to general administration, page 268. First item on this page is the technology server replacement for $30,000. We did not ask any questions about that. And then also $75,000 for town hall exterior maintenance, and we did. So our question was, last year, we, and I believe it did pass in the referendum vote, it did, that there was $140,000 worth of work to replace the HVAC system and So we asked if that had been completed and where the total expenditures were of that work. So the fire chief is currently on medical leave at the moment, and I will just say with that, the fire chief has historically kind of brought these things forward at these meetings that we have coming up on Saturday. The fire chief is here talking about the building maintenance and stuff like that in regards to that. So he's on medical leave at the moment, but what I know is no work has been done yet. The boiler is expected to be replaced this summer. The roof, I think, was patched, but the capital work has not been done. We have no other information at this time.
So would the 140,000 approved from last year be sitting there waiting to be used this year?
I would believe that to be true, or
at least a portion of it.
yeah. Because we asked what were the total expenditures of that work. Again, another area that we could, wait or ask about on Saturday if we needed to. There was money put in the budget the year prior as well.
50,000 the year before, wasn't it?
We had put $100,000, well, $150,000. So there was a $100,000 for roof repair and $50,000 for boiler replacement.
In last year's budget?
No, this would be 24, 25. It was 2 years ago.
I think 50,000 was remade,
Okay. Do you have something to say?
if I remember.
I know the chief met with the boiler company and got an astronomical price with that, and he was working on trying to find another company with something different. I think it was like $500,000 is the number I hear, don't quote me on that, but obviously we didn't have money for that. And I think from what I hear, there's future plans of expansion here, so they're trying to do it all at once possibly. Like I said, it's just stuff that I hear. I don't know details about it. Of that, but just to incorporate it all at once. But he did try to do to get pricing, but it was astronomically high.
Thank you.
Maybe,
The other question we asked, go ahead.
I was gonna say, maybe we don't approve that, and maybe the town manager can explain that a little bit more.
Sure, you're welcome to make that motion as well. Do you have something?
Yeah, the other thing to add is that I've been working on trying to get a location for propane tanks because that's what we're trying to go to out here. But we're limited some of it because of our impervious area on where they can be. So we're trying to get a new permit for our stormwater with that. So like I said, it is a work in process, but by the time we get the permitting, because we have to have the propane tanks, which changes our impervious area, which changes our stormwater permit through DEP, it all takes a process to do that before they purchase that stuff.
We asked what the 75,000 would be used for, and I don't know exactly, I don't remember correctly who sent these. I don't know if it was Scott or the town manager, Tasha. But it said, my understanding is that $75,000 is to be used for the fixing the exterior of the building, such as the column repair, painting, replacing items like the soffit and fascia board, that type of work, which was in the memo as well. Yeah. I loved the notes in the memo. That was helpful.
Does anyone else want to know?
Well, so did you say that the the budget 2 years ago had 140,000. And then the budget last year had another 140,000.
2 years ago, 150, and then last year, 140.
And do we know if that's all been used?
I cannot answer that for you right now. That would be a Scott question. Finance director. Yeah. Do you? Do you know?
No, I
Okay.
don't know.
And do we?
So that would be, depending on what's been done, or if nothing's been done, is $290,000 in that account.
Getting close to enough for the boiler.
Plus we're gonna put 75. Oh, they're requesting 75. But there's no estimate of what the boiler would cost.
Like I said, I believe he did get the estimate of $500,000 for the boiler, but that wasn't feasible for the money they had, so that's why he was trying to get something cheaper.
Right.
I can't tell you
But if-
how much is there without, we would need to ask Scott
Right.
how much is left.
But if that
We
was,
know what was approved for 25 and for 26.
Yes,
We were asking for another 75.
yes.
7.
so just an explanation of why
Yeah, and what it's already been used for.
would be good.
And how
Even
much has
though-
been used, right?
Yeah, even though, yeah, the 75 is gonna bring it up close to what the estimate was. At some point, I know at some point it needs to be replaced.
So with that information, we will have, from what it sounds like in this response, that we should potentially have an opportunity to come up with our recommendation at the meeting on Saturday. Do we want to move this to just table this page, or
I would, yep,
would you like to do that?
yes.
Motion?
Need a motion for that?
Yes, I would like one, yeah.
All right, we'll table it.
In a second.
All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to page 269, which is Parks and Recreation. Mill Street parking and bus parking, so 2 different areas. Mill Street is in Steep Falls, sweet little park there. And also the bus parking is here in off to the side. There's a new build, the Rex building is up, and then there's, the buses are parked there. So those are the 2 specific areas. We got answers for their questions. There's this little bunch that is not, it is not stapled, it's got a paper clip, well, mine does, anyways, this little bunch. So, we asked a question about, so they sent us their outlines. And this came with a quote from Pine State Asphalt for both areas of parking is $24,780.
From last September.
Yep, the quote was done in September.
So this quote is for 24. 25,000, they're asking for 38.
Right, that's true.
But this quote expired last fall too.
Maybe they're expecting that because it was, you know, the quote was done last year, that maybe it would go up more. I don't know why there's the difference there. There's no explanation of that. We did ask other questions, but it was regarding their vehicles and what the Parks and Rec plow truck was, how it was currently used and what its availability was for other use.
I just say something about the asphalt. Right now, with what's going on overseas, I couldn't tell you what asphalt's gonna do with that because it's based on liquid and that type of deal. I'm even nervous about my pricing that I gave to you guys about that because I think it's gonna be subject to change coming up here pretty quick if fuel stays as it is. Based on what the town attorney says, if we don't have enough money budgeted, we can't spend over that if it's a bonded project. So if you don't have enough money, you're not allowed to take it from another account and do that if it goes to the voters as referendum for that. So with items, yes, we are a little bit higher on some things. I'm just making assumptions of why he might have done what he did with that type of deal, because if we're short, then you can't do it.
Thank you. Any questions or suggestions for Parks and Recreation, Mill Street parking and bus parking?
No questions.
Joe, do you have any questions?
It's just like you said, that there's nothing in the notes that says what it is, but
I mean, it seems,
there's like other little things in here for like Mill Street to make it ADA compliant. So there
Right.
might be some other little work in there that would. That's all. I've been through Mill Street quite a bit and into the parking lot. It does need to be fixed.
yeah, we just put a beautiful playground there.
I like it.
Anybody like to make a motion to?
I make a motion to move this as is.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. All right, we're gonna move on to Public Works, page 270. Actually, I apologize. I'm gonna review the, would anybody like me to review the answers about the Parks and Rec plow truck? Probably should, because we asked the question at the last meeting. There's 2 full-time employees, 1 year-round parks, 1 split position with Public Works, April to December. The F-250 with plow and sander, spring, summer, fall, parks maintenance and projects and programs. Winter time, it's used for plowing parks, town boat launch, town overlook, parks projects, recreation programs, ski and town holiday events. The F-350 with a dump body, plow and sander. Spring, summer, fall is parks maintenance. Winter is plowing parks, boat launch, overlook, and park projects. Next winter, we'll be looking to use the F-350 for plowing and sanding if the new sander, which will be larger and have a vibration system, is approved this upcoming fiscal year. Having the F-350 take over plowing will make it possible to use the F-250 during the winter months to do the park and town hall projects, which we were unable to do in previous years due to the sander being installed. For example, hauling lumber, building materials, etc. Those items were hauled by the Ford Ranger, which provided difficult and often impossible with the truck being so small, and I can tell you that truck is very small. The F-250 will also be available for backup for plowing if something were to happen to the F-350. Having the F-350 do the plowing next winter will also extend the life of the F-250 as plowing can be hard on vehicles. Currently, one of the trucks is being used this winter by facility maintenance when available. Otherwise, the trucks, when they are available, can be used by any town hall employee that might have need of them. The vehicles that they have is a 2007 Ford Ranger, poor condition, the 2019 F-250, 3/4 ton, the 2024 F-350, 1 ton with dump body, purchased with impact fees. And then on the last page of this little bundle is all of their equipment, the year, mileage, and hours. So the Ranger is old, but has 44,000 miles on it. The F-350, they just got, it looks like 680 miles. The F-250 that was mentioned here has 54,848 miles. The buses, and the new tractor, new zero turn, and the Walker zero turn as well. So just answer those questions for everybody. Any questions needed from, in that regard of those? Yes?
Not so much on those, but I guess I have bigger questions that may not be able to be answered here tonight.
Okay,
And maybe John can answer it. Why doesn't that equipment fall under you as public work?
The count, everybody has chose to be separated, and that's what so in the wintertime, I call out their park foreman for plowing and stuff like that, but that's the only thing that I have related to him is plowing, but Parks and Recs has always been separated from Public Works.
And they purchase their own vehicles.
They purchase their own vehicles.
Do you maintain those or
We do.
you do?
Public Works does, yep. They pay for their own parts.
Okay.
My budget pays for the labor and tools and equipment, you know what I'm saying, equipment to do it.
thank you.
Is there a capital outlay request for parks other than the paving?
No, but it was a question that we talked about. Somebody had asked the question, so just trying to keep all the questions that were asked last week so that, you know, anybody that needed or wanted the answer it's there.
We're not,
Nope, there's no discussion really about those tonight, essentially, about that. So let's move on to the Public Works. Page 270, $9,405,000. Truck number 3 with plow gear, $315,000. The plow truck sounds like it will go into as a spare afterwards. This new vehicle's purchased, new, not used, with the plow gear and all that attached to it. And then truck number 7 with plow gear for $90,000, which is utilized as a crew vehicle in the summer months. And then the Public Works building for $9 million. Are there any questions or suggestions to the council for the truck number 3 with plow gear? No?
no,
No. Truck number, yes?
Let me look for just,
Okay, no problem, sorry.
the Public Works Truck 7, is that a 3/4 pickup or is it bigger? Small?
I believe it's a 3,500 pickup. It's a 1-ton single axle. If If I look on the thing, I can't remember. I think it's 3,500. Does it say on it?
I was just wondering why there's a $5,000 difference.
In between myself and Robbie's?
Yeah.
I did my pricing. I'm pretty confident in my number. I don't know if he got quotes on his other stuff.
The fire EMS trucks have a different type of gear, the lights and all of the,
Yeah, that's probably why.
and the cap
Yeah,
most
I
likely.
suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah.
explains it, so.
Yep. Sirens, stuff like that. It's got that stuff in it. I
Yep.
mean,
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Public Works Building. So anything with the vehicles? Any questions or suggestions?
Nope.
And the Public Works Building for $9 million. You want to, I mean, there's a couple options. You can just, we can, whoever puts forward a motion, and whether there's a second or not, and then the other, just like the other item that we tabled, yes, it could be tabled, but those decisions, we could make that together as a whole when there's more of us here, which with such a large number, I wouldn't, I think I would like to consider that.
I'd make a motion to move the trucks forward.
A second.
All those in favor? None opposed. So that goes forward.
Yeah, and I would make a motion to hold off on the building until the joint meeting with the council.
I'll second.
All those in favor? So that's 4 yes. Motion passes. Thank you.
And do you think that at some point during the meeting on Saturday, especially on this item after we hear the council, that we would break to discuss this in just the committee?
So
Or are
the,
we gonna have to discuss it as a whole? And
Alright.
then we vote on it.
It's all gonna be public though, right?
it has to be public. That's the,
Yeah, okay. that's-
so I would imagine that the council could give us, the council could potentially take a break or take a recess, and we could continue to meet
Right.
and as a whole, as a group, and that's still public meeting. Yeah, I think that might be what we have to request, and I can,
If that's
If you'd like-
something that we would want, I
right.
don't know.
We could make that recommendation at the beginning of the meeting if the chair of the council or finance would allow us to do that. Would you like to make that motion?
Sure.
Okay. State it. Would you mind?
A motion to allow the budget committee to meet separately from the council, and maybe the council could have a break.
Maybe the council
Or
could
the
recess.
meeting
Yep.
could,
Recess.
Yep. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
and part of my reasoning for that is we're missing 3 members tonight.
I am 100% right there with you. Yep. I agree. They are valuable members to our community and also to our committee, and I'm right there with you on that. Okay, so that's that. One more page. We're gonna move to page 271. Highway road improvements, $1,142,293. And the list of roads is in there. And some of this is repavement, some grinding in there. Those notes are in the memo. Are there any questions regarding this?
John, I have a question. There was a bid letting a month or two ago on road work. Was it this road work or was it?
No, so typically how this works is this goes to a referendum in June, so the roads that were just bid were the roads last June. So because we need time to prepare the roads to go to bid, usually the pavers' schedules are too full and our schedule is too full to get the roads prepared in June. And the other thing is we don't get the bond money until November.
So this
So
work,
if it passes, this money doesn't come in until November.
so this work will be done
Be
in
next year. And
27.
we're all caught up, so meaning we're doing, the roads that just went to bid were the ones that were approved last June.
And the roads that were approved last June, was the bid, how close was
So-
the bid price to the approved price? The approved amount by the
Well,
budget?
this is the thing that you have to take into account right here with this. This price includes replacement culverts, so we don't use the culverts that are in the operating money. We buy it out of the bond money for this area and shoulder money. So after the roads are paved, we go back in and shoulder. So the bid price last year was $923,000, $13,000 difference to a lower price. The price that went to council was $1,018,000, so it was about $95,000 difference. But from that $95,000, we have to do the shouldering and culvert replacement work out of that. So that will come down out of that price. And that was based on asphalt prices before the things going on overseas. So we have something that's called an asphalt escalator. So with if they bid it, when they bid it, the price of asphalt, if that increases, meaning the liquid part, the town has to pay that. So that price of 923 is based on estimated tonnages. We could have a little bit more tonnage that is spent, and the price of asphalt could be higher based on the asphalt escalator because of the price of liquid. So, like I said, I'm even nervous a little bit because I don't know what the future's gonna bring with that, but that's.
Is the shoulder and culvert work done by Public Works?
It is. Yep, so we go at the shouldering. What that does is makes it a transition to the shoulder safer for the traveling public. It also provides backing to the road, so if a wing gets off to the edge of the road, it doesn't peel up the pavement type of deal. It's a really essential thing that has to be done after paving.
Thank you. Any other thoughts about this? No? No? Would anybody like to make a motion to move it forward?
Oh, that's right. I'll make a motion, move forward.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Very good. That is the end of the capital budget. Aside from the, something will be added to this, and I suggest that we just wait till Saturday to review it with the council, our other budget committee members, the Eco Main contract or ownership project, so I'll call it. So that's okay with everybody. There's nothing for us to even, there's no page to reference it in here.
Okay.
Can I just make a quick comment on that? The attorney is writing up what the referendum question will be, and I don't believe Scott will have, other than what the numbers will be, if you know what I'm saying by that. So I know thought you might receive something in writing, but I don't think it's done yet by the attorney, just so you're aware of that.
Well, he'll have something for our budget
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure he will.
So,
If he's adding it to the capital, he'll have to give
Yeah.
us something.
Yeah.
okay, it will be in this budget.
Yeah, I'm just saying the wording or whatever else type of deal is being done by the attorney for that.
Okay. Thank you.
And also with that, who will be deciding whether it's ownership or what was the other one?
Well, ultimately, if the council and the budget committee feels that we should be owner, they have the one choice, and then the voters decide whether to accept that option or not to accept the option. So
Okay, so would that be going on the referendum
it has to go to referendum. That's why it's in,
in June? Okay,
yep. So EcoMaine is only holding that pricing till the end of June of the $49,000 per year buy-in. So if we waited till next year to do it, that number could be higher.
okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Joe Paul, and seconded by Chris Perrin. All those in favor?